teaching our kids perseverance, that resilience. Oh my gosh, I wish I would have had that. And I would say my parents did a really good job when I was little, in fourth grade, picking me up off of the bathroom floor, wrapped around the toilet because I was too anxious to go to my first day of fourth grade. My dad did a great job picking me up, taking me there to the classroom and letting me know that I can do this. But I feel like I was really missing it in my teenage years, right? When you get rebellious, when parents think you're not listening any longer. And yet I always knew anytime I had a decision to make, and I would even ask my dad, I always knew which one he was going to pick. And that was usually not the one that was most interesting to me, right? And so after a while, my dad kind of shifted his approach, and he'd be like, well, Christine, you really have to make that decision on your own. I can't tell you what to do. You're an adult now. And I love that he was trying to give me that freedom to really choose. I always knew what he would have picked anyway. And, I heard from him so many times, why do you always have to choose the hard way? And I do. I just have to choose the hard way. It's usually more interesting, and that's what I'm going to choose. But the point I'm trying to make is through my teenage years and early adulthood, I really could have benefited from this message rather than saying, maybe even saying this is the way that I would choose. But the message that I wanted and needed to hear, and the message that hopefully I will tell my kid every single day is, you can choose. You can make this decision. You're not going to mess it up. And even if you mess it up and make the quote unquote wrong decision, you can fix it. But the big message I want to give to my kid is, you can do it. You can do anything. You can bounce back from anything. You can get through anything. You have the strength, the knowledge, the resources, the ability, the guts. You have whatever it takes in order to get through your life, no matter what life throws at you. This is the kind of resilience and the kind of competence, confidence that I want to help my kid achieve or learn or ingrain or come to, right? This is what I want, because oh my gosh, he's going to have so many days in his life where he's going to wake up and he's going to be in a funk, where things are not going to feel good, where he feels like he failed at something, where he's going to be down on himself about something. And I want him to remember these moments when he charged life, that he knows that he has this competence to pick himself up again no matter what goes on. This was my 2 last weeks, right? Of like every day trying so hard to have that cork float. And I just felt like something was always just dragging me under the surface of the water. And yet when you have that knowledge of, I have done it before, I've gotten through rough seas before, I can make it out to the other end. It is such a different feeling. And speaking of, right, these are the kind of days or the kind of mornings where you feel like, why does life have to be so hard? Do you ever get to that place? I get to that place where I'm like, why can't it just be easier? Why does one thing after another just have to hit me? Why does it have to be such a struggle? Why can't I just get a break? Life, can you just give me a break, right? And sometimes, right? Sometimes we have these phases in life where we float a little easier, where things are really falling into place. But sometimes we're going through challenges one after another. And I know it from my journals, I know it from my experiences, that these are usually the moments of the biggest growth, right? These are the moments that are defining. These are the moments where something is really going to shift. A lot of times these are also great motivators to get yourself going, right? The more motivation you need, the more you're probably going to create these huge challenges in your life. These are here for you, but how can we start to see them more like that? A friend this morning on the phone was like, well, the squirrel doesn't have an easy life, right? The bee doesn't have an easy life. Even plants, trees, gosh, it was so dry this summer. They didn't have an easy time this summer. It's like, this is just life on planet Earth. And I'm like, see, that's where we differ. You have actually succumbed to this decision of like, yeah, okay, life is not meant to be easy, so I'm just gonna take it on as like life is just gonna be hard. And I'm just like, me being such a passionate being, I'm like, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be. All these law of attraction things I'm listening to, this is supposed to be easier. I'm supposed to be able to set up an amazing life for myself where I don't have to struggle so hard. And so I'm pushing so much against this feeling of life is hard. And yet, what am I doing? I just need to ease into it, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm pushing against. I just need to relax. And then something else came to me, right? It's not just that wildlife, that our animals, that our plants have to struggle under certain circumstances, conditions in nature. But also think of a great athlete. Think of an Olympic athlete. Do they have it easy? Are their workouts easy? Is it easy for them to get out of bed to like swim however many miles they need to swim that day, or to like get up that huge hill? I love those kind of stories, right? I've listened to so many audiobooks of Olympic athletes and like their training. It's just incredible, because I'm like, where do you pull this grit from? How do you get through those workouts that are just grueling? How do you not quit? And I want to take that into my everyday life. Would it even matter if it was easy? If it was easy for everybody to swim, to dive off of a 50, I don't know how high this is, 100 meters, whatever. Would it be easy if we can just all run, a mile, a marathon, a huge long race, super easy? It's like, today I'm going to decide to do this. I can now do it. Would it even be worth it? I feel like it would make life so meaningless if we didn't have to struggle for anything, right? If everything just came so easy, there wouldn't be this huge sense of accomplishment, this huge sense of competence of, I set out to do this. This was not easy for me, especially when I started, but I stuck with it. I had the discipline to keep going, and I mastered it, and I've done this, and I can get through it, and I have the mental toughness to get through this. When you master something, this is why oftentimes we say, get into a sport, get your body moving. That helped me hugely. If I set myself a goal at the gym and I could really push myself through something I did not think that I could do, it translates into other areas of your life and to all areas of your life, because you're like, there was something that I didn't think that I could do. I did it. Now look at this, right? There was something I didn't think that I could do. I pushed myself to try it anyway, to stick with it, to get through this. And here I am on the other side of it, having accomplished it. Do you know what that does for your confidence? Brendon Burchard always talks about competence going into confidence, the competence-confidence loop. When you feel competent at something, it gives you more confidence. There's something else Brendon Burchard said too. I was just listening to that this morning. He said, sometimes you can't keep up, but you can show up. And that also helped me looking at my 2023, because I was like, I did not feel like I could keep up with everybody else who was working so hard to keep up really with my own goals. I could not keep up. And yet it means something if I show up every single day and I am working on it. It means something. And the other thing, the last thing that Brendon Burchard said in this big long video that I watched this morning was, self-confidence is linked to self-discipline. That one made me think for a moment. Self-confidence is linked to self-discipline. And I was like, this is what happened. This is what happened. I let myself down. The last 2-3 months, I really slipped up on my self-discipline. I wanted to, I had set out a goal, and I did so well throughout the middle of this year of really showing up for myself, showing up for my business, showing up for my audience. every single day in some kind of way. And I haven't in the last 2 months. I have really been struggling to find my new stride. I had to shift gears a little bit, and I have not found my groove with it. But I also haven't prioritized it. And I think that is what gets me. That is really what made me upset about myself, is that I didn't stick with it. I wasn't disciplined enough in order to follow through on something that I had set up. And that is what then cost me competence and confidence. Because when I say I'm going to do something and then I don't show up for myself and follow through with it, I lose confidence in myself. Well, you said you're going to do this, well, you didn't. You think that this is the way to accomplish it, but then you don't follow through with it. I can't trust you with it. We can't make this happen, right? Why even set goals if I know you're not going to show up for it and make a difference and actually do the work? So, because I did this and because I found this incredible wisdom for myself, if this was really the key why I have been feeling so crappy about myself and what I have accomplished in the last couple of months and what I've accomplished in this last year, is that it came down to a lack of discipline. I no longer have this every single day I'm going to spend X amount of time on this particular thing for my business. I let it slip by the wayside. So, with that said, what are the disciplines that you will set up for yourself for the new year? You have decided what you're going to focus on in 2024. You have decided, especially in the first 1 to 3 months, what you're going to focus on, the 1 or 2 things in your life. Now let's commit to disciplines. What are you going to set into place in order to make yourself focus on this every single day that you will be progressing? I can't say every single day because I know everybody is a little different, right? If you have some kind of creative thing that you're wanting to do, and you might need 4 or 5 hours in one stretch, 20 minutes a day might not do any good, right? But then it's a matter of like at least once a week. Can you set yourself time once a week where you have that 5-hour stretch where you do this thing that you promised on? I would say if you don't work on it at least once a week, you're not going to accomplish that goal in that month or within that 3 months, right? It has to have that regular reoccurring, getting it fresh into your mind momentum. For me, I really have to do something every single day. If I don't focus on my business at least every single day, every other day, by day number 3, I've completely lost momentum and I have to start all over again in my mind. What is it that I'm doing? What do I need to work on next? How do I do this? All these things. Set up something for yourself. When are you going to do this? I tell you what I will commit to. And I remember talking about this before, and then I did it for a while, and then I let it slip again. There was one speaker who said 100 minutes for 100 days. If you put in the effort for 100 minutes, 100 days, you are going to make significant change in whatever you're trying to accomplish. Which I totally agree on, as long as you have some kind of a plan, right? And then I was like, 100 minutes a day, how am I going to fit this in my schedule? And I was like, I can do 3 times 33 plus 1, technically. So can I take 33 minutes in the morning? Can I take 33 minutes at lunch sometimes? Can I take 33 minutes in the evening after my kiddo's in bed to focus on something that is incredibly important to me that I want to progress on? And the answer is yes. I will make that time. I will find that time. I still catch myself wasting time with stupid things where I'm like, if I would have just been on the ball and I would have planned my time better, I could have utilized that time. So I will every single day pre-plan, when am I going to do these 33 minutes 3 times a day to fit this time in? What about you? What are you committing to? What discipline are you setting for yourself to commit to making this next year fantastic? And then if you slide back down into not doing what you said you're going to do, here's the thing that Brendon Burchard put big on the screen. defeat or discipline. This is good for me because my brain likes to go to failure, right? It's like I failed at this, I failed at that. Then I can look at this and say, am I going to choose defeat or am I going to choose discipline? Oh yeah, I did sleep. I did slip on my discipline. Oh, okay, what do I have to do? Pick it back up. Choose that discipline again. You can do this.